Yo YouTube, welcome back to another Pick'em video. We just got done with Pacific and now we're back onto EMEA. And EMEA, probably joint with Americas, has had the most shake-up out of the two regions, or four regions, I guess. But I think EMEA definitely has a lot more new faces and a lot more players that people aren't too familiar with, both myself included. However, it's fun, it's exciting, and it's almost a breath of fresh air. I feel like we have a lot of teams that have their own kind of unique style, and some teams that aren't going to be kind of frothing at the mouth of copying Fnatic's sort of slow defaulty style. I've got a spreadsheet on my left monitor with all the rosters, and I'm going to read them out, both for my own sake, but also yours, because like I said, we've got a lot of new teams. Well, we've got a lot of new rosters, I guess, is the best way for me to say it. So, first game, round one, is Na'Vi versus KC. KC has got an updated roster of Aves, Sugetsu, DOS9, Levin, and Shados. Okay, Shados is now reunited with his old head coach of Eng, back from the Gambit days, but that's a big question mark for me, because I'm not sure. And Shados to me wasn't an IGL, you know, he was a flex player, he was a fragger. So it's going to be interesting to see how he kind of fits into this role. Of course, he's got a great advantage with his coach, his old Gambit coach of Eng, you know, like you'd think that they can work together pretty well, but I favour Na'Vi in this matchup. Angel, of course, retired last year and went into coaching for Na'Vi, and Xiao is the new IGL of Na'Vi. Joining him is Ruxic, Hero, Sociable, and Philo, and I think that this roster seems pretty good. I think they could have a really high peak, seems really balanced, and I think my only concern is Philo, but I think the fact that Na'Vi have picked him up means that he fits for their team, and I think Philo doesn't even have to do too much because you have Hero and Ruxic on your team, and even Sociable was performing last year. So we're going to go for Na'Vi. I think KC might be late bloomers in a sense, but the fragging on KC with DOS9, Levin, as well as Sugetsu and Aves, I think that seems pretty strong as well. I just worry for the IGLing. I feel like Xiao's going to be a lot better of an IGL compared to Shados, but at least for kickoff, we'll have to see. Foot versus Gentlemates. Gentlemates are now Starkso, Mini, Bippo, Martin, and Glyph. We've got a lot of interesting players on Gentlemates. I'm really excited to see Martin on a different team other than KC. Of course, Mini was a really incredible fragger last year, even from the IGL position. And Starkso has been grinding in Tier 2 for the past couple of years, so I'm happy to see him kind of get his opportunity. If we look at Foot, however, Foot have got, where are we? Mr. Farlan, Crostally, Atta Captain, Yetijay, and Zeus. I think Zeus, especially with the coaching, I think that they will come into this match with a lot of new stuff that Gentlemates might not be prepared for. And I think that's the thing with Foot, is they always look good in the early games, and when it gets to the later games towards the playoffs and the upper finals, upper rounds, that's when they usually start to fall off. I think they peak really early, and then when teams have got VODs on them, then they start to struggle. So we'll go for Foot, but to be honest, this is going to be a really exciting game as well. Pacific versus BBL. So this is basically BBL versus BBL. Pacific basically lost their whole roster to BBL. So on the side of Pacific, where are we? We have CNED, Cooper, Alorante, Seven, and Ninja. I would love to see Pacific win this, because I think it's a very unique team that's got talent from here, there, everywhere. Some old faces, some new faces, and we've got Seven from NA Tier 2, you know. So BBL, of course, have Cruin, Lovers Rock, Larrock, Loiter, and Rose. I'm going to go for BBL because I think they've got a lot more time together, team synergy, coaches. They are basically the exact same team when they were playing in Ascension, and they looked pretty strong from the VODs I watched. But if they get upset here, geez, that's going to be a pretty big one. Ulf versus Team Vitality. Ulf, we have Neki, Fabian, Stern, Ordaz, and Dima. Dima is... I know Dima for a long time. He's been a huge grinder. From tier 3 to tier 2 to now, of course, tier 1. So it's a shame that they've been put up against Team Vitality in the opening match. However, Team Vitality will not have Sayonara. Okay, so they will have Durka, Unfake, Chronicle, Yampi, and Profek. Despite that, I'm still favouring Vitality. And if Vitality do lose this, I think it'll be a bit of a shock, and it'll shake them ever so slightly. Na'Vi versus Team Heretics. Team Heretics are basically the same team as last year. However, Miniboo has gone, and now they have Comeback. Comeback's been praised for the past the past year, I guess, as like this prodigy, this next big thing. And I mean, even still, you still have Rians, Wu, Benji. I'm going to favour Team Heretics. I think the coaching staff of Team Heretics as well are just too good, too strong. Giant X versus Foot, and this is the exact same team. And this is where I constantly underestimated Giant X last year, and I don't think I want to make that same mistake. Fnatic versus BBL. I think Fnatic will come out pretty strong here. They'll have VOD footage on BBL. They'll have an idea of how they like to play. And I think even with Vekaj playing instead of course, Chronicle, they looked really good in the off-season tournaments. In the Soup one, where Boaster wasn't even IGL in and it was Crashies, they still look like the exact same team, same identity. And I think that they're only going to get better. Team Liquid. So Nats, Camo, Purpo, Wayne, and Miniboo. This team is interesting. I have no idea where to even rate them, to be honest. I mean, I don't think Team Liquid's going to have the hostile vibes that they had last year. But when you look at that roster, it's hard to have a clear picture. Because we've got teams from here, there, everywhere. I mean, Miniboo from Heretics. Wayne from, I think, is he from Pacific, I believe? Purpo. Oh, I mean, I'm going to go for Vitality. I think Vitality are just going to look like incredibly strong, and it's mainly due to the fact that the coaches have got a proven like resume, you know, from last year in BBL. You're bringing 2 of your players over. I like the call. I think Team Liquid with the full roster rebuild, near enough. I mean, who are you keeping? Camo and Nats. You're going to have to adapt and fix a lot of the things that are kind of just on the fly. Team Heretics versus Giant X. I think Team Heretics will win this. Fnatic versus Vitality. This is interesting. Let's go Fnatic. And Heretics versus Fnatic. I'm going to go Heretics. I think Heretics will come out on top. I think my Heretic stocks are pretty high. KC versus Team Liquid. Oof, that's a hard bracket. I'll go Team Liquid. Do I? No, I'm going to go KC. I'll go KC. Gentlemates versus BBL. Let's go BBL. Pacific versus Foot. I think Foot. I think Pacific are going to have a hard time. This is going to be purely experimental. Okay, I'm just not even going to bother. Ulf versus Na'Vi. I think Na'Vi will come out. KC versus BBL. I think... do you know what? Let's just keep betting on BBL. Na'Vi versus Foot. I'm going to go for Na'Vi. Na'Vi versus Vitality. I'm going to go Na'Vi. BBL versus Giant X. BBL versus Giant X. Let's go Giant X. Giant X versus Na'Vi. I feel like Giant X can't be this consistent. I feel like whenever a team, they peaked really late into the year, and usually those like previous results weigh on the team's shoulders. So as soon as they have the first little wobble, I feel like they'll fall apart. I said let's bet on BBL, so let's keep betting. No, I'm gonna go Giants. Na'Vi, and then Na'Vi versus Fnatic. I think Fnatic will qualify for that. Team Liquid versus Gentlemates. Let's go Gentlemates. Pacific Esports versus Ulf. I mean, let's believe in Dima. Yeah, let's believe in Dima. Gentlemates versus Foot. I'll go Gentlemates. Ulf Esports versus KC. Let's go KC. KC versus Vitality. Vitality. Gentlemates versus BBL. Let's go Gentlemates. Gentlemates versus Vitality. I think Vitality. I think Vitality will win this. Na'Vi will win, and I think we'll see Na'Vi at another international event. I like that. I like that. My stocks on in Na'Vi are high. I think they're going to be very, very good. Look, for anyone rushing down to the comments saying I'm a stupid guy, honestly, they're pick'ems, and let's be honest, EMEA has changed so much that it's almost impossible to get a lot of these right. But I like these teams that are qualifying. This, for me, is a little bit of a fan. But I think, all in all, kind of makes sense. My question marks are around like half of these teams. I'm concerned for Pacific. I'm concerned for BBL. Or not concerned, but I'm curious about Pacific, Ulf, BBL, and maybe Giant X. Giant X have a lot of pressure on themselves. I think Foot might be exciting, but like I said, I haven't got Foot going that far, have I? Yeah. Okay, well, that's a lot shorter than Pacific, that's for sure. EMEA literally starts today, I think in, like 7 hours. So to be honest, I should probably get some sleep. But I appreciate everyone for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting kickoff for pretty much every region. But I think the EMEA, we got a lot of teams that could show up and surprise everyone. And that's a unique position EMEA isn't in that often. Usually watching EMEA can be kind of a snore fest. However, we might be in for a treat this year. We've got a lot of teams that have very different kind of styles and theories and maybe foundations of playing Valorant. And I think we could see Fnatic have a weaker year than usual, because I think we've got a lot of W key kind of teams. But yeah, that's why we'll leave this video. I appreciate everyone for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And yeah, I hope everyone enjoys EMEA kickoff.